I'm going to show you how to log on to Visio using Austin Remote Access if you don't have Visio already downloaded onto your computer. This will work from Windows or Mac. And if you have Visio, you can look at the timestamps below to pick up where I actually start working and showing you how to use Visio. So type into the Google search bar VMware Horizon OSU. I've gone to the site many times before, so here it is, cob-views02.bus.oregonstate.edu. When you pull this up, you're going to have to log in, and it may prompt you for your Duo. I hope everyone has that set up. If it doesn't, go ahead and click on Austin Remote. It's going to be the only one that works and allows us to use Visio. All we're doing here is basically logging into the Austin computers remotely through our webpage. There are two ways that you can find Visio. You can either search for it or click the Windows button. Scroll down to V, and here it is right there. Open up Visio. We want to click Cross-Functional Flowchart, this green one down here. It will bring up these four quadrants. You want to pick the top left one that is blank, and US metrics is good. Then click Create. It will then prompt you to choose either horizontal or vertical. And for this class, we're going to want to use vertical. Click vertical, click OK. It is now popped up with the start of our Visio diagram. The first thing we want to do is change the theme from this blue to simple. Up here along the top ribbon, you want to go to Design and click the fifth one over, which says Simple. Do not click any of these variants over here because some of them will not allow arrows to show up, and we need arrows. So click Simple. Now we want to give it a title. You either need a title in Visio or on the Word document, but you don't need a title in both. So for now, I'm going to write Figure 1, Car Rental Company's Current Vehicle. That's good enough. Everything that I show you here, all the steps come from the scenario in assignment 3, also the scenario from assignment 1. And in the assignment on Canvas, there is a sample figure 1 that you should be referring to for the first 5 paragraphs of the scenario. And that is exactly where I'm pulling this off of. So this is going to be an exact replica of sample figure 1. And sample figure 1 should be what your Visio diagrams look like for the first 5 paragraphs. You need to finish through the next 5 paragraphs, but the first 5 should resemble sample figure 1. So now if you guys have sample figure 1 in the scenario pulled up, you should be directly on track with where I'm getting all this information from and all the steps that I'm going through to make sure that they match. The way to add swim lanes, because we're going to need a lot more than 2, is to right click on any of the swim lane and click Insert Swim Lane Before or Insert Swim Lane After. Click After. We can do before this time. We're just going to add a couple. We'll add one more. Now, you've noticed that we have this dashed vertical line. Do not worry about any dashed vertical lines on the diagram. That just shows one page in Visio. This is going to go multiple pages. You don't have to try to contain it within that. The next thing we want to make sure that it's always in the top left. Sometimes you'll accidentally drag your diagram way off, and sometimes even out of the picture. So after you save it and reopen it, you're going to say, all my work is gone, when really it's hidden somewhere on the page. So make sure that every time you save, that it's up here in the top left so you can find it when you come back into the Visio. Next, we need to give each of these a heading. So the way you do that is double click and it will highlight it, and then you can type. We want to increase the font size because the headings are size 12 and the actual text of the diagram is size 8. When you put that into the Word document, we cannot read it as size 8. It needs to be at least size 16. Now, the way you can do that is you can highlight it by dragging across and changing that to 16. The way I like to do it is double clicking. After I'm done typing, Control A for all, or you can say Command A if you're on a Mac. It will highlight all of it. You can then go up there and change, or you can just right click, click here, type in 16, and it will change. There's no way to change it consistently throughout Visio. You have to change it every time you do it. Now there's a few ways we can get around that, and I'll show you later in the tutorial, but for now we're just going to type each one and change the font size to 16. So now, if we want to make this wider, because we're going to be putting a lot of different shapes inside of these swim lanes, all you have to do is, let me zoom in, is click on one of these swim lanes, and sometimes you'll get two arrows that point outwards with a bar in the middle. That's also a way, but sometimes you don't get any prompt and it's just your cursor, but as long as you're on it, you can click and drag them. Because we want to make sure these are long enough to be able to fit all of our shapes inside of them. In addition to dragging them wider, you can also make it longer because we are not going to be able to complete the entire scenario within the space that Visio gives us. So you can drag this down. Don't worry about those dotted lines. Give yourself plenty of space. Now that we have the headings, the title, everything set up correctly, we're going to go into using some shapes. Now, we do not have all the shapes we need in these three subcategories. We need to add another one. You do that by clicking on More Shapes, Business, Business Process, Audit Diagram Shapes. Feel free to pause the video. I'll leave it up for about 5 seconds. There we go. Now we have all the shapes that we're going to need. The first step is to file the online complaint. And again, I'm using these shapes from sample figure 1 and also the scenario given for this assignment. If you just click the shape, nothing's going to happen. You have to actually drag it on to the diagram. These little circles allow you to change the size. And there we go. Now, the way to type inside of each one is just to double click. It'll open up a little text box. As I was saying earlier, there's no way to completely change it. So once again, you're going to have to highlight it, change the font size to 16, and there you go, your first shape. The next shape is an external data shape in Visio. An online copy, an e-copy is what we like to call it. And as you remember, the y-axis denotes time. So these have to be either equal if they happen at the same time or a bit below. It wouldn't make sense for this to be down here and then the next shape to be up here because that would mean we're going backwards in time. Some of your other classes may allow you to have upward arrows, but this class does not allow it. Once again, double click, type unreviewed complaint. Highlight, change font size to 16. The next step is just going to be a regular process step that we can click, hold, and drag over. When you resize these, and those green arrows mean they're the same size as the shapes prior. So if you want to, you can make everything the same height and same width. This step is going to be print customer complaints. Change the size. There we go. Now, back to the audit diagram shapes that we added earlier. The next step is a multi-document, a multi-paper copy. Audit diagram shapes down here on the left. You're going to have to drag it over onto the diagram. As I was saying earlier about dragging these boxes wider, that's because we don't want to have these shapes overlapping borders. We want it completely contained. So if this was a lot narrower and we made this big enough to type in, we wouldn't even be able to fit it inside. So give yourself plenty of room. In addition to making the swim lanes wide enough, we also want to make sure the shapes you're typing in are also wide enough. Please do not have random words being cut off. Prints, customer, complaints just looks bad and it's hard to read. Make sure all the words are complete. Once again, double click. This one's going to say unreviewed complaints. Now, the one way to get around having to change the font size is by copying and pasting the same shape later on in the diagram that allows you, then you can just change the words inside of it. So what I mean is you can either right click and hit copy, or you can Control C, Command C, copy, click where you want it to go, Control or Command paste, which is V, you can bring the same shape down. Now all you have to do is just change the words inside of it. And you don't have to worry about changing the font. That's personally how I like to do it. Once I get all the shapes onto my diagram that I'm going to use, I just copy and paste them instead of trying to refine them and change all the font size. It'll save you a bit of time. The next step is a decision step. A decision step is unique because it's going to have two connectors coming off of it instead of one like these ones. We haven't done the connectors yet, but we'll get to that shortly. So drag the decision step. I believe it is a rhombus is the shape it is called. And once again, make it bigger so it can fit words inside of it. Since these have two connectors coming off of them, we need to make sure that that is explained by what's inside of here. If it just said review complaints using manual as a decision step, you wouldn't know whether to go left or right, yes or no, because it's just a comment or a single task. So the way we do this is by using print question marks, and then we will answer the question in the connectors. So one of the shapes that comes off here is a no, which is an end. Once again, we want to make sure that this doesn't overlap, and we want to make sure it's big enough to fit 16 font. So in this scenario, this is one end. There's also another one that's a yes, and is actually another decision step. I'm going to control copy that one, paste it, and then change what's inside. Another question mark to say that there's two connectors coming off of it. And make sure that the words are completely inside of this shape as well. So like that, the N sticks out and the S sticks out. So we want to make sure that everything is completely contained within the shapes as well. Now we're going to go to connectors and pointer tools. And I guarantee you, at least one person watching this video is going to have this happen to them because I use Visio all the time and I still do it all the time. When you are in pointer tool up here under the home pointer tool, that is where you can select, drag, type, and format everything the way you want it. When you are under connector, you can only connect things. You can't do anything else. So you're going to forget to go back to pointer tool, and you're going to start trying to move things and draw a bunch of arrows all over your Visio diagram and not know how to get it out. So the two ways of getting back are either clicking pointer tool or clicking escape. So I will demonstrate. We want to drag connectors to connect these together to show that they happen after each other. It's kind of the flow of information between each swim lane in each step. You click on one of these circles, hold, and drag to another one. When it says glued to connection point, that means no matter where you move this shape, this connector will always be attached to it. So these little blue dots are where you can change and adjust the corner. So if you don't like the way the arrow is, you can adjust. So now, the way to get out is either click pointer tool or you can hit escape twice. Back to the glue. When you glue this, no matter where you move this in your scenario, it's always going to stay attached. Sometimes you won't hit this glue connection and this will just be hanging out here and it will look like it's connected, but then when you move this shape, your connector is just stuck out here. So you can always highlight it and re-glue that together. Once again, we're going to do another connector to show the flow of the diagram. Here, here, here. Now, as I was saying before, this one has two arrows that come off it. One to end and one to needs manager's review. So now, there are no answers to the question inside the box. So we need to type in answers by double clicking on the connectors. Double click here, type no. Don't forget to change the font size. Highlight, right click, change the font size. And this one needs a yes. You'll see a little yellow circle pop up when you have this highlighted. That allows you to move the yes into a different spot on the arrow. So let's say I want it down here, I can move it there. Let's say I want it back up here, I can move it there. And you can move this arrow around. You can move the word around wherever you want to inside that line. Make sure you're on connector tool. Now, if you look at the end of sample figure 1, you will notice there is a multi-E copy. Now the multi-E copy is not in Visio yet. The way we make it is by dragging one external data onto the diagram. And this is not in the correct spot. This is just for demonstration purposes. And then by dragging another one on top of it. Make the one on top a touch smaller than the one above it, and the one below it, sorry. Double click and type in. Highlight, change font size. Now, if you go to move these in your diagram, you're going to click one and you're going to drag it and it's going to completely leave the other one there. There's two ways to fix that. The first way is by using area select. Area select allows you to select a certain area. And if you only do this, it won't highlight anything. It has to be completely encircled inside of that zone. Now they can move as a pair. So if you forgot a step and you need to add one in, instead of manually moving everything, you can just highlight the entire section and drag it anywhere you want in the scenario. The other way is by using lasso select. Lasso select allows you to draw. If you hold it, you can drag a circle and move it that way. I prefer area select, but you can use whatever one you want. Additional information for this Visio diagram is you can use more than one start and end. So this start, there's usually only one start, but there's going to be multiple ends. So don't feel like I already used my end step, therefore I have to use something else. It's okay if you have multiple ends to the scenario. Correctly saving the Visio is a crucial part of this assignment. We're going to save two ways. The first way is saving it as a Visio drawing so you can go back and edit your work and change it, create the new assignment afterwards for assignment 4. The other way is a JPEG. You cannot change the JPEG. It is like taking a picture, a screenshot of the screen. So if you save it as only a JPEG and you cancel out, you're going to have to remake your Visio diagram to be able to edit it. And the way we do that is by going File. We're going to do as a Visio file first. File, Save As. We're going to want to go to this PC, double click it, and it'll open up your file. Click this PC, it'll open up a drop-down menu. Go down to your owned Z drive. You can see a couple things I have already saved there, and name it. In this example is BA 270 assignment demo. And if you want, since you're going to be creating assignment 4, a new one, we can create a new folder, and you can put all of your work for this assignment inside of there. By clicking new folder, you can open it up. Make sure it is under a Visio drawing, and then hit save. So before I exit out of this, I want to show you this. This PC could be open or closed, it depends. Open it up, scroll down to your owned Z drive, click that, and then save. One part about saving is I've never had it happen to me, but some people have. If you have a shape selected and then try to save, it will sometimes only select that shape. So if you check your Visio drawing and you see it's only saved one thing, either don't have anything selected or select all, File, Save, and it will save everything. The best way to guarantee everything gets saved is by selecting all. Now we're going to go over how to save as a JPEG. Saving as a JPEG, we're going to go File, select all, File, Save As. This PC, sometimes it will have everything already popped up, but I'm going to go through the process again. Opening up this PC, scrolling down to your owned Z drive, clicking your folder, except this time I'm going to differentiate that it's a JPEG, and I'm going to click the drop-down menu, and instead of a Visio drawing, I'm going to save as a JPEG file interchange format. And when you click it, you'll see JPEG pop up there. The JPEG is the one that you're going to be able to insert into your Word document. You'll be prompted with the JPEG output options and change the quality to 100. You can just highlight, click 100, and then click OK. So now your JPEG is saved. Now we're going to work on the Word document. First thing you need to do is open up Word. Blank document. The format of how we want this page is in the instructions. To save time, I'm just going to fill in some stuff just so we get an idea. This should be the only thing on the title page. This is not formatted correctly. The assignment 3 instructions has a correct format on how we want it. The paragraph and drawing that you're going to be inserting should be on a different page, not on the title page. Press enter. To start on a new page, so you don't write on this page, go to insert page break and your cursor will now be on a new page. This will be where you put the paragraph that we've given to you in assignment 3. You can copy and paste the paragraph directly from the assignment or rewrite it. Please do not change it in any way. Just copy and paste it directly on to this Word document. Below that paragraph is where we're going to insert your JPEG. Do that by Insert, up here on the ribbon, Pictures. You're going to want to go find where you saved it at. This PC, owned Z drive, BA270 demo, demo JPEG. Feel free to watch that again if I went too fast. Now it is very light. We want to make sure that it is darker and that we can see it better. So do corrections over here under Format. If you accidentally click out of it, you can always reselect the picture, go over here to Picture Tools, click Format, and it'll bring up the same submenu. Picture Corrections Options down here at the bottom. Open that tab up. Increase the sharpness to 100. And if you want to, you can increase the contrast as well. Let's say, for example, your picture loads in and it's on the wrong page because it's too big. You can always just drag it smaller and it will pop up on the other page. Usually when you change the contrast, it will take a second to load. Another thing you want to avoid is dragging by the sides and changing the aspect ratio so it makes your drawing either appear really stretched out or really smushed together. I know I just did it, so now my aspect ratio is off, but try to change your picture by using the small circle in the corner that allows you to keep the aspect ratio and change the size. Now, we need to add in page numbers, but we do not want a page number on the first page, and we want to start with page 1 on technically the second page. The way we do that is by going to Insert. Scroll along the top over here to Page Number. Click Page Number. And we want to do bottom of the page, and we want the bottom right corner, which is plain number 3. Click that, and it will say Page 2 and Page 1. We do not want this to say Page 1. We want this page to say Page 1. So click Different First Page, and then it will disappear off the first page. But this one still says 2. So on the same tab, come over here, click Page Number, Format Page Numbers. Instead of saying Continue from previous section, click Start At, and put this to 0. So it counts the title page as page 0 and page 2 as page 1. See, there's no page there, and we have page 1 there. When you're done, click Close Header and Footer. Once again, we want to save our Word document. Click File, Save As, this PC. Make sure it's on your own Z drive. Assignment Demo. Instead of my name, we will put Word Assignment number 3. A couple additional words of advice. If you save as, you click this PC and you just save on this PC or the desktop, once you log off the VMware Horizon, all your work is going to disappear. The only way for you to then log back in and reopen this up is saving to your Z drive. If you do not save to your Z drive, your work will disappear and you will have to redo it all over again. So make sure you're saving to your own Z drive.